Your biological age is different from your chronological age. We covered this in the last video. Ruha Benjamin's book, Viral Justice, explains on page 34 that because stress shows up in the body, because the body keeps the score is one of the other titles, or My Grandmother's Hands, the concept that trauma shows up in your body is a well-established fact, but it's a fact that we don't have to think through. Page 34. Quote, Black women have a cellular age that is biologically 7.5 years older than white women's. There's some corroborating evidence in this book, and we don't really need to look that hard. This is life expectancy in St. Louis. The purple regions where life expectancy is longer is full of white neighborhoods. The gray regions is full of black neighborhoods. And to be clear, that is something that we created as a society with our policies of segregation and our policies of extraction of resources. We created this discrepancy in the world. What I didn't include in the last video is this. In this example, one of the mechanisms of the life expectancy shrinking is a shortening of what are called telomeres. Telomeres are a component of your DNA that are an indicator of aging. Short version, I'm a bioethicist, not a biologist. But Dr. Benjamin takes one more step beyond where most people stop, and I have to read you a quote. Will knowledge of their shorter telomeres engender greater public empathy? Or might it just solidify the popular view of urban and disadvantaged children as damaged socially, culturally, and now biologically? We should ask ourselves whether research is serving as a stall tactic so that we never collectively act on what we already know when it comes to engendering health and well-being. I'm going to say that again. We should ask ourselves whether research is serving as a stall tactic so that we never collectively act on what we already know when it comes to engendering health and well-being. I refer to this as the datafication of injustice, the hunt for more and more data about things we already know. I spent 4 years as a teacher in urban environments, and after that, I spent a lot of time studying systems of oppression. But there's one thing that has been missing in my analysis until I read this book. I don't want to preach this at you because it's something that I'm just now coming to understand, but it is that in our focus on systems of oppression, we often do miss personal responsibility. And I don't mean that in the sense that we should just tell people to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but in our collective rejection of individual responsibility, it seems that we often miss that people are the ones making the choices. She gives an example on page 21 of a doctor that chose to assault a black girl child. Systemic oppression didn't do that. The doctor did. So while I love this is TikTok and I'd love to end on a punchy one-liner and explain liberals need a concept of personal responsibility or some clickbaity thing that sounds more profound than it actually is, I actually want to close with the flip side. If systemic oppression is caused by individual choices, systemic liberation can be too.